Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Crossing the Streets. My name is Mark.
This is Jin.
And this is Gazzo. Hello.
All right, guys, so we're going to get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the process of building a street show. And to get a street show going, of course, you need an audience, right?
No.
No.
No, that's not the first basic thing you learn as a street. What you need to do is find a location.
Location.
The audience is very difficult to build, even when you found a great location. So you need, first of all, you need a venue. You need a place to work.
And this is called a pitch, right?
A pitch, yeah. It's a slang term, pitch. But this is not just basically primarily about street performing. A place to perform magic. You need a venue to perform magic, whether it's the streets, a restaurant, a comedy club, or a local bar. You need a venue. And a venue is the easiest venue is the streets. But saying that, it may not be the easiest venue because there are certain places in America where they just don't want it.
That's right.
Merchants don't want it. The city doesn't want it. The police don't tolerate it, So finding a location is very, very difficult in America. And we were just saying that the other day, there's thousands of places in England, just England to work, thousands, right? But in Florida alone, Florida is just as big as England. In actual fact, it's way bigger than England, but there's only 3 or 4 places to work in Florida.
Yeah.
It's just maddening. It's maddening the state of affairs that's going on in this country. Why isn't there a place to be bad?
Yeah. And you said that you were talking earlier, you said there was a part in England that got shut down recently.
I just read yesterday that Westminster, which is the certain borough of London, that they're outlawing street performing. I don't know if they'll ever get to that far, but they're trying to outlaw it, and they're trying to make 2 places legal, which is Leicester Square and Covent Garden.
So finding a pitch is the first.
First thing you do is find a pitch, whether it's you're performing in a restaurant. This is if you want to pursue a career as being a full-time entertainer,
Right.
with cards, coins, or whatever you choose to pick out of your drawer.
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing you do is find a venue. Now, I suggest the streets because it's the easiest venue to find if you can find a spot.
Right.
If you want to learn, move to London, move to England, move to Germany, Berlin, move to Holland, Amsterdam, Belgium, Antwerp. There's places where you could begin to be bad, So you need a venue. That's the first thing. Once you have a venue, and you know that it's fine that you're able to perform in that venue, say on a street corner or a marketplace, Saturday market, then you have to choose a location in that venue that would work for you where you're not blocking up, say, somebody selling shoe polish or sunglasses, where the businesses, the local businesses, where they're trying to make money off the tourists on a Saturday afternoon. And now if they don't do well, they're going to either blame you or their location. They're going to say, my location is not very good. I want to be near the front entrance. I don't want to be at the back of the market. So if you perform at the back of the market, then they're going to blame you for, to the organizer of that market, the management, say, the guy there had a crowd around him all the time and he stopped people coming down to see my knitting needles or my beads or my hemp bracelets. Right. That's just nature of the beast. They're going to blame you, and you have nothing to do with them because you haven't. There's 10,000 people at this market, and you've only got 50 people around you, but they will still blame you. That's just the way it is. Always you get the blame. So you have to find a location where management put you. So if it is any complaints, management said, well, we put him there.
Right.
See. But if you go to an area and set up and management didn't clear it with you, then they will just move you on because you got complaints. Not about what you do, or it could be the size of your crowd. You're blocking up the entrance way or the pathway, or the merchants at the back didn't get any business because you were just up there a little way. So these are factors. Once management clear it with you and you clear it with management and you're ready to go, now you've got to get you've got to be able to stop the crowd, and stopping the crowd is very difficult, especially in America, because if they're not accustomed to street entertainers, then they just walk past you. They don't want to see. The only time they would like to see is when you have a crowd. So it's just a catch-22 situation. The only way you can get a crowd is if you can build a crowd. The only way you can build a crowd is if you have a crowd.
So
See?
how do you get a crowd?
How do you get a crowd? You just stop one or two people, and the rest comes. You don't even try. You don't even try to build a crowd in that area. They will come. If it's an area where there's a conjunction of people and it's a congested area, you don't want to be. You want to be in that area. You actually, ideally, you want to be right amongst them, right in the middle. That would be the perfect location. But if you perform in a doorway or adjacent to an alleyway, you know, stepping out of that area 3 feet would make the difference. You know, you don't want to be parked in between two parked cars, you know. You want to be off the sidewalk where the people walk.
So the positioning is very important.
3 feet forward is more important than 3 feet back, you know. And 3 feet forward, it's easier to get a crowd than it would be if you went 3 feet back, 3 feet back. But it's these are the things that's hard to explain without giving some visual ideas, you know. Verbally, it's difficult to explain because it's they have to go out and experiment themselves, you know.
So when you're gathering a crowd, though, like certain times of the year, you know, you're setting up and people already see a show, and sometimes no one's even acknowledging you're there, like you said. How do you handle those situations?
It's very disheartening when you go out and you can't stop them. It's the worst feeling for anybody.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to have those feelings to get to the next level. You have to have rejection. You have to understand rejection. It's not you. It's not the location. It's the crowd that's there that day. But you ask this one person, would you like to see a magic trick? 99.9% of people say absolutely not. I want to keep my money in my pocket. You know, but you got one guy says, you know, he's curious. More people are curious in Europe than anywhere in the planet. Less people are curious in America because they just think they know what's going on. They think that you're there to scam them and they're not going to stop you. You know, they're not going to stop to watch you because they got your number. Mm-hmm. But you get one person that's curious and say, what do? You say, I do card tricks. Would you like to see one? And his wife would say, no, let's keep going. Let's keep shopping. So the guy would say, okay, I'm sorry, but next time, you know. He was curious. So you have to get two people that's ready to see you, the husband and the wife, or the boyfriend and girlfriend, or the family. And then you just perform magic for those two people. Don't worry about anybody else. Just to give you confidence to perform in certain tricks. Now you do certain tricks and people will start to build. They will start to come around because safety by numbers. People are thinking, well, those two are watching, so what's going on? So they come over. Everyone is curious.
So does it matter which effects you do to start off with to build?
It does matter. You still have to perform, I would say, sponge balls right off the bat immediately, or ambitious card. So you have to be able to, sponge balls are very visible. Cards are very visible. So you have to be able to perform a certain card trick that's not tedious. And, oh, God, you know, count in. And I got to put 3 piles there and count 16 cards and move this pile. They just walk. You'll never, ever start learning street magic as long as you live on this planet. Those tricks don't work. You have to perform a simple thing like pick a card, show everybody, don't show me, okay? Put it back in the deck. Now shuffle the deck. You've picked the card. You hand it out to be shuffled. The guy shuffles the deck. So now I'm going to take a card, put it on the table. I got a feeling your card was black card. Yeah, yes, it was. Okay, good. So you put the ace of spades on the table, and their card was the 4 of diamonds. You put the ace of spades face up and say, look at that. Isn't that a miracle? And the guy says, that's not my card. And you say, I didn't say it was your card. I didn't say it was your card. We're going to find your card. Are you serious? Is this your card? He says, no. I say, well, I never miss, you know. Okay, does it resemble your card? And you say, well, no. I say, well, it kind of does. It's the same shape. It belongs to this pack. And it's got the same color on the back. So that's kind of, you know, that counts for something. So as you're saying this, you ask this guy to move in. As they say, move in a little bit, so half a step, just stand right here. You top change the ace of spades to the four of diamonds. And you say, what was your card then? He'll say, my card was, no, you tell me what the card was. And you go, well, was it the four of diamonds? And you go, yeah, it was. And you go, yeah, because it's right here. And you show it. Now, they've seen the ace of spades in your hand. Now it's the four of diamonds. That's such a simple trick with the top change. These are the things you got to start to do right off the bat. Now, the beginners can't perform a top change that early in their career. So, but you can do a double lift. Same thing with a double lift. You know, is this your card? The queen of spades. Say no. Okay, I'll put this card face down on your palm. Press the button. What was your card? They name it, and you go, was it the ace of clubs? They go, yeah. So there's the ace of clubs. Turn the button. Turn it over. They go, oh my God, that's such a simple premise.
Yeah.
And that's the type of things you have to do. Right? It's easy to follow. It's a visual trick, and you need to do no more than those type of things. And that can be considered the strongest card trick in the world. Showing an indifferent card to what their card was, and then turning over that indifferent card, and you ask them to turn it over, and it's their selection. That's the strongest trick in the world.
Yeah.
So you can have a sign up saying, a card magician performing magic tricks for your entertainment pleasure. And so they don't have to ask you questions, really. Next question I'll ask you is, where are you from? They already know what you do because your sign speaks volumes, you know. So they say, where are you from? And you say, well, I'm from Indiana, or I'm from San Francisco, and I'm in here in Florida. They know you've come a long way. You don't want to say, I'm just you can say you're a local guy, but it's better to say that you've traveled from some other place, Detroit, to come here. They know you've traveled a long way. Well, you must be good, right? They made up their mind. You can convince them that you're good with the tricks, selection of tricks that you perform. So, and then you'll start to build crowds, and then management will see you. Management know you're not offensive, you're doing simple things, you're not hustling for money. You don't even want to ask for money, you just want to get comfortable the first day. Do it for free. Tell everybody it's free, you don't have to tip me. Management know this, just do it for the enjoyment and the experience. Don't try and make money, because money will come later on. You see? So that's how you build a street show.
And then this is probably a more advanced question, but if you notice, like Mark does like a 45-minute set, like average, and he'll have, tons of people, but it takes him probably about a good 10 or 15 minutes to build up to that size. So Gazzo, when do you keep building the crowd, and then when is the right time to, if you can't build it big enough, when to fire them?
Well, that you have the right to fire any crowd,
yeah,
if they're not good. But with a captive audience, it's different, because they spent $15 to come see you in a comedy club. You're in a showcase. You can't tell the crowd. You can't fire the crowd. Right. You've got to do your bit on stage. That's why some comedians die and they don't go over. You still have to do your time.
Right.
But with streets, they don't know you. They haven't paid to see you.
Right. You
can just say, look, you're not reacting accordingly. You're supposed to react to what I do. You're not. So it's time for me to get rid of you and get a different crowd.
But when is the right time that you say, okay, I'm going to keep building this? I notice
it's not the right time for a beginner. No, the beginner should keep going, because you need to learn. You can't. A seasoned professional can blame the audience, right? A beginner cannot. The beginner can blame himself for not choosing the right tricks, the right location, the right situation. Yeah. Is it too dark? Do you need a street light? Yeah. Is it too hot for the audience to stand there? Do they stand in the shade? Do you stand in the sun? All these things are important when you're building a street show. Can you stand in the sun and suffer and let the audience stay in the shade? You have to suffer, and that wears on you. Is it going to rain? Is it a bit cloudy that day? Will it rain when I get to the pitch? And will it rain? These are the things you have to consider, taking a chance in all these situations.
Right.
But when you're a beginner, you have to lump it. You have to stand there and lump your show. You have to dig in and perform. And you need experience to get to the next level. And the next level is, crowd, like how how Mark gets, how you're getting big crowds. That's the next level. But you can't get to that level until you've served your apprenticeship. You know, confidence is something you can't buy in a magic shop. Experience is something you can't purchase on the internet.
When you're doing the street shows, though, when you're getting these crowds, these audiences, and we're talking about building the crowd, and say for 5 minutes, even 10 minutes, you're still trying to get more than 4 people in front of you. Do you have different techniques to?
Yeah, but Mark, you're a seasoned pro, right? Your goal is to build a crowd to make money. But in the beginning stage, that is not a goal that you should try and adhere to. The goal is just to get out there and get comfortable with your surroundings, get management to feel comfortable with you. All the rest will come in time. Your goal is to build a big crowd. That's your goal because you have confidence to do that. But a beginner should not try and build a crowd. He should just do basic magic tricks for a small audience and progress to that later on. That'll be another subject later on about how to build bigger crowds. But I'm not going to try and give advice to a beginner right now to try and get big crowds because that might backfire on him. You know, you're in the location where you can do that. But if they're on a Saturday market, they don't want to build big crowds. You know, they want to get comfortable with management and management get comfortable with them.
Yeah.
So they want to keep it tight, get the tricks honed in, sort out what tricks. I would say sponge balls, a basic card trick like rising cards, or a color changing deck routine, or a photography deck, or a Svengali deck. You know, there's nothing wrong with gimmick cards. There's nothing wrong with them. Invisible deck is a fantastic trick. Perform with it, even for 2 people. You know, and get comfortable with performing on the streets, and you'll realize that you could fill in 15 minutes of people's time. I wouldn't do more than 4 minutes a person. You know, if you got 2 people there, do 8 minutes.
So at this point, then we're mainly talking about busking, street performing for the beginner. So at this point, how important are hat lines for the beginner?
They should not even consider money.
Right.
First couple of weeks. First free goes on the Saturday market. The money should be the least thing they should be concentrating on.
But they can put out their hat if they would like.
No, don't even do that. Just say, I hope you enjoyed the magic and come back and see me. I'll be here all day. Come back and see me again. I'll do some more magic tricks for you. Yeah. They should not worry about, but don't refuse money. If the guy would like to say, do you take tips? You say, yes, I do. But you don't want to ask for tips at this stage. Give it some time and then start asking for money. They shouldn't worry about hat lines, and they should worry about attire, dress. Yeah. They should worry about dressing down or dressing up for the occasion.
You'll see a lot of buskers out there. I would say maybe a fourth of them, they try wearing suits out there. What do you think of that?
No, well, I'm wearing a suit now, but I have a residency. It's a bit different. I can dress up for it because I have a banner projecting behind me. I have lights and I have a sound system. So it's not really street performing. Yeah. You can't bring all these to the street corner like on a Saturday. You may not be. You can only maybe work on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday evening. You may not be able to do it on a Thursday. It might not be busy enough. You see, it's always busy in America on a Saturday and a Sunday. But on a Thursday and Friday, it's just not busy enough, so it may not be workable. The ideal places is where it's busy every day. We are in an ideal location in Las Vegas where there's places to be bad. But, you know, it's...
So what should they wear?
I would get consignment clothes. I wouldn't dress up in a suit because it might be too hot on that Saturday in the sun. And there's nothing worse than the crowd seeing you sweat. You have to be comfortable with what you're wearing. You know, you have to. I would say.
So casual attire.
I would say very, very casual jeans, but not. I mean, I should say, you know, not with ripped jeans, but that's the fashion today with kids, isn't it? Holes in their jeans. Yeah. But I wouldn't. I mean, you know, I wouldn't go that way if I was them. I would dress in consignment clothes, you know. People don't like wearing dead man's clothes, but but there's nothing wrong in it.
Right.
I wouldn't ask you to put his dentures in, you know, but I'm asking you to, you know, not wear his shoes, but maybe his suit jacket or his trousers, and then his maybe a shirt. But I wouldn't wear a shirt and a tie on the streets. I would just wear just casual, but, you know, but then the other side of it, you can dress like period costume, like gypsy or, you know, or Renaissance-y, where you're sort of standing out a little bit. But this was all the fun part of building atmosphere on the streets, you know, what to wear. I mean, I can't really give advice. I can only, because it may not work for them. Right. I can only sort of send them in the right direction, because sending somebody into a consignment shop and they're from California and they grew up still living with their parents, and their mum says, what on earth were you wearing? Well, Gazzo said I should put his dentures in and wear his trousers, but they're way too big, and, you know, it's like, no, you got to figure it out yourself. You shouldn't really stick to what I'm asking you to do.
And timing-wise, you said 4 or 5 minutes they should do the routine.
No, there's not a routine. They cannot do a routine. They need to do simple card tricks or simple sponge ball tricks.
For how long?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. And then you ask the gentleman or the lady, or the family, would you like to see another trick? It's their choice. If they say no, they leave. But there'll be other people that will leave because they left.
Right.
Then you're left with nothing. So you have to include the people that are watching too. You have to get your eyesight panoramic view of what's going on. You don't ignore anybody. You use this person and this lady or this family for the anchor of the show, but then you talk to the guy, you shake his hand, you step there, and you pull in, and you stand them shoulder to shoulder. So this way, people at the back have to come over and look over the shoulder to see what's going on, if they want to, right? They won't, most people won't want to, but if you get these people going, oh, and and clapping and cheering, then other people will be curious too. That's what hooks them in, right? So you don't ignore those people. You include those as well as the family that just set up the show. Because if you don't keep including them, they're going to walk. You know, get the little kid up to sign a smiley face on the card. He's part of the performance now. If they're not part of the performance, they will leave and do shopping or come see what anyone else is doing. But they tend to have a lot more attention span on a Saturday market than they would on a Saturday night when they're out eating and going to get ice cream. But this is the beauty of the streets. This is the things you learn. It's not about going there, setting up a table and doing a few card tricks. It's all about, what time do I get there? Where do I stand under the street lamp? Because if it's a good pitch and it gets dark in the winter and it gets dark quick, will I have to move? Will I be able to move to a place where it's well lit? All these things are experimental, and it's just it's the beauty of streets. Yeah, it's and you lock in these things to memory, and you think that was, if I would have stepped 3 feet further out, it would have made a difference. But I can't say step there and step there because I'm not there that day. I don't know how they work. Yeah. You know, do you report to management at the end of the day saying, how was it? You know, they might turn around and say, no, we don't want you here. You see, so do you pull back, not report to management? Do you just go there the next week, the next Saturday, and just act like you own the place?
It's a lot of variables.
It's very, very a lot of variables, and then it's tough to really give the advice I'm trying to give without knowing the situation. There's basic principle you stick to. Yeah. It's a basic format, basic formula, and streets it's not really rocket science. Yeah. But it does take a lot of creativity, and that's what's beautiful about it. It's great. It's a learning curve. Well, this podcast is purely designed to help somebody in their magic career. That's all it's for. Yeah. Is to get to the end result quicker than it would if they started making mistakes. I can only sort of advise them to get there, but it's up to them to have a lot of common sense. Don't upset anybody. Don't upset the merchants. Be friendly to everybody. Maybe you got to take a 10-minute break in between each show. My style is I keep going, boom, boom, boom. But there's no distractions. There's only a couple of Israeli people selling T-shirts or whatever. They're not going to complain because they are actually working for their boss. If their boss was working there on that Saturday, he might want to complain to management. Who do they complain for? Nobody cares in your street. You can show your nuts and get naked there. You see what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Though nobody really cares, right? But where I am, where there's a residency, I can get expelled because somebody can complain.
Right.
Yeah. All the
Right?
shops, all the restaurants.
Yeah, the shops. So you have to watch your surroundings. Make sure you're not causing anybody bad business. Make sure you're not upsetting anybody. Make sure you're not blocking up the area where the tourists walk, because security will come over. And so we had a complaint they couldn't get the wheelchair through, or the piano. They have a roving piano with a Russian girl balanced on a handstand on a pole. All these things are factors you have to. But a beginner wouldn't understand any of this, but a seasoned pro would.
Yeah.
So your job is not to try and build a big crowd, because you might block up the wheelchair ramp or the area where there's filling the market with fruit. You know, that stand there, they got to keep bringing potatoes in and carrots in and fruit and grapes, and they have it on a full-wheel cart. And if they can't get through, they go to management, said I couldn't fill my stand because I couldn't get my cart through. These things you don't really understand as a beginner.
So how long should the beginner take, for instance, I'm going to call it take your prescription on doing this style of just not taking any tips, doing the routines, learning the streets? Like, how long should they be doing this?
I can't answer that. It all depends if you know, prying eyes and the little man will spoil it for you. Prying eyes are management. The little man is the business owner, right? They will complain and spoil it for you, right? But when is it time to just branch out and get bad? It could take 3 months. You know, I don't know. It could take 3 hours. It could be that day, couldn't it? I don't know. It's but their main goal is not to tread on anybody's toes, not trying to make any money at this stage of their career when they're a fledgling of street performing. Their main goal is to get comfortable with their self, their dress, their pitch, the selection of tricks, the selection of furniture, and do you get a trolley or do you sweat and carry all your stuff? Do you get a trolley? Is it like a long way to walk it back to your car? All these things are factors. You don't want to work too hard. You don't want to be like Jim Cellini, had like deformed body for carrying all his weight all the time. And yeah, well, you know, he died through strenuous. The streets got the better of Jim, you know, because when he was older, he needed to walk to the pitch, and sometimes you can't park near the pitch. You have to walk, you know, 2 miles up the road. You see what I mean? All these things are a factor, but that's later on in your life. You know, when you're young, you can carry whatever you want on your shoulders. You know, rejection is the main learning curve of street performing. Authority figures, you have to basically respect, or I mean, I tend not to, but I've learned to do it now, is respect authority figures. I don't like them, but I've learned to respect them because they can make it very difficult for you, you know.
So you play the game.
You have to.
But they always make it difficult.
They make it difficult for everybody because they're bullies, you know, authority figures, white coat people, clipboard people, lady with the headphones coming over. She's organizing this festival and she's 17 and she's saying, this won't work, that won't work, and you can't face like that. Yeah. Next, let's go to get a team to go up there.
Like a gang.
They're just volunteers and you have to, like, if more people give everybody their artistic license in this country, it'd be a better place, you know, for all aspects of people, whether it's a tour group, a bus driver, you know, in all aspects of life, you know, and the general public, if they if they wisen up to what street performing is all about, or performance art in general. We went to see an exhibit yesterday, Banksy's exhibit, you know, and the title is Vandal or Artist. You know, I would say artist, but if I was the owner of a building and he graffiti decided my building, then I'd say he's a vandal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But if he's not, if it's Banksy doing it, then you're like, oh my God, he's made my building famous.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a bit different if it was a team of punk kids, breakdancers that come out with spray cans and put their tags on the wall, and I'm a pharmacy owner, I would understand why you would be upright and angry.
What role you are in it.
You know, but where do you draw the line? And it depends what role and all this. When do you draw the line? And I consider Banksy an artist, but sort of a menace when he first started, and what he's done, he's allowed people to accept what he does mainstream wise. Before, they were trying to arrest him in Bristol. I believe he's from Bristol. I don't know. Nobody knows nothing about him. But where he was from, he was considered a menace, and the police tried to arrest him many times. But now, the police are protecting him. They're protecting his work. You know, because once Banksy puts a piece up, everybody wants to tag their name on top of it, because they know that if Banksy's put his work on the wall, then and I put my name over top of it, they're going to see my name on top of him. Makes me famous. But that's like defacing some wonderful piece of artwork, right? So is the guy tagging his name on top of Banksy's work or underneath Banksy's work an artist or a menace? No. It's up to the person to decide. It's when people control art is when it becomes acceptable. When street performing becomes acceptable all across the world, then you are considered an artist. But right now we're considered menaces like Banksy. Mm-hmm. Banksy was a menace and a graffiti artist, a menace, tagging his work on walls. But now he's considered an artist, and they frame his work. So until street performers or any art performance art is considered an attraction rather than a form of menace in society, social behavior, antisocial behavior, they consider it. By you street performing, now if your amp's too loud, I get it. Merchants don't want to listen to you singing Hallelujah all day. They have to deal with that, and a lot of artists don't understand. You can't just keep chalking the ground, because people can't walk over it. They have to walk around your chalk, so you can't chalk it across like this. Yeah. You have to chalk it like this so they can walk this side of it, this side of it. A chalk artist knows that when he puts his work on the ground, he has to put it in a situation where the people don't walk over it, right? So this is something to consider. A new chalk artist putting his art on the ground, on the floor. He's on his hands and knees. He's drawing a Mona Lisa. If he does it in such an area, people are not going to walk around it. They walk over it. They ruin his work. They got he's got no place to be bad. So he has to, an experienced chalk artist would consider this is a better location than that, because he puts it on a canvas and at the end of the day he rolls it up, because the rain will ruin it in England. Yeah. Chalk art, because it rains and it's destroyed. So the next day he comes out to finish the work. It's diminished because of the rain. But with the canvas, he can put a big canvas on, roll it up, put it under his arm, take it home, and then come back out Sunday morning and finish the work and still collect money. So all these things are experience, and that's something you can't purchase on the internet. Yeah. Experience. And let's hope all these guys understand what I'm talking about, and they go find a place to be bad, and then there won't be that many, but there'll be a few that will go out and actually do it and then say, Gazzo knew what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. But it's the guys that are still purchasing stuff from Penguin and Murphy's and online companies, Stevens and Magic Inc. They're keeping those companies in business, by them buying these basic tricks that people have endorsed, and they know they're never going to use those on the streets. And when they do go and find a place to be bad, they won't take those tricks with them. They'll go, oh, maybe I should try sponge balls. Maybe Gazzo was right, these things, So, my information does carry a lot of weight. It's a lot of experience. But I learned the hard way by doing it. I learned to practice the right way, and I learned to practice the right moves by being out there. That's the idea of it, isn't it? Yeah, it's good. I'm happy to give out, some insight.
So for someone just starting out, just go out there and practice your tricks.
Yep.
Keep doing it till you're comfortable.
Yep.
Build the
and
confidence.
take your brother with you, or your brother's friend, and take three guys and tell them to stand in front of the table, and they'll help you build a crowd.
Yeah, that helps.
But that'll only last for the first time. The second time, no, I got take my little nephew to tennis training and all these things, and you get it. They don't want to keep standing and watching you doing pathetic magic tricks, So but it's like, and you can't blame them. But take somebody with you if you can, because it help you get confident.
Yeah.
Like Clive.
I wouldn't take Clive with you because the way he dresses and stuff.
Did you hear that, Clive?
I'm going to hear it. He's snoring still. So let's wrap that up. I hope that gives them some idea.
All right, everyone. Well, I hope you got something informative from this episode. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Gazzo, for
You're welcome.
coming out.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
It's Crossing the Streets.
See you guys on the next one.